Hello and welcome back to Professional Tutors, the British online school. We are a unique team of qualified and dedicated teachers here to help our students to reach their full potential. So to start with, can we try to label this structure of lesson? If you can label 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll move on. So number 1 is an electron. They are in the shells. Number 2 is a neutron. Number 3 is a proton, and number 4 is the nucleus. So we'll look at what is static electricity and how that works. Now we got the balloon here. It's got the positive and negative charges. Then we got a piece of cloth here, say a jumper. So when we rub a balloon against a piece of cloth, what we can see, due to friction, the electrons, they will jump from the jumper or a piece of cloth to the balloon. Now, if we move the balloon away from the jumper, what's going to happen? It's going to get attracted towards the jumper again. And the reason for that, because the electrons that jump from the piece of cloth to the balloon, so balloon is now negatively charged. And because the electrons, they have moved from the jumper to the balloon, the jumper is positively charged now. And we know that the positive and the negative charges, they attract each other. And that's the reason why the balloon gets attracted towards the jumper. Now let's see what's going to happen if we bring the balloon close to the wall. If we move this balloon close to the wall, the electrons in the balloon, they will repel the electrons in the wall. There'll be a bit of repulsion. So, and remember this thing always, when you rub two insulators together, it's the electrons which always move, which always jump. The protons, they never move.
But I'm listening to you.
Okay, so guys, we need to know these points. They're really, really important. So a static charge is an electric charge that doesn't move at all. So static charge is basically the buildup of the charge. And that normally happens when you rub the insulators against each other. So static charges are often found in insulators where charges cannot flow. And when the insulators, they rub against each other, the friction causes the negative electrons to be moved or jump from to the other material, basically. So remember, it's only the negative charge which jumps or which moves or transfer to the other material. And when that happens, when the electrons they jump from one material to another, that will result into two things. So this will leave a positive charge on one material, like we have just seen, the piece of cloth or jumper, and a negative charge on the other. And that is what we have seen in terms of balloon. So static charge, remember, very important from exam, and that is what you're going to write in exam. Static charge or static electricity is the buildup of the charge. The charge doesn't move, it stays there. So static means stationary. So charge doesn't move, it stays there.
The
Now in this one, yeah, we'll put these statements in order. So I'll give you 1 minute and we're going to discuss the answers.
Okay.
Right, so these statements, based upon what the animation we just seen. So you rub the insulators together and the friction causes the electrons to move from one surface to another. The material that gains electrons, that becomes negative, and the material that loses electrons, that become positive. And both the materials are now charged, and that is why they attract each other. So guys, just have a look. So why can you get an electric shock when you touch a metal door handle? So what normally happens when we walk on a carpet, then our shoes, our foot rub against the carpet, and because that friction, the friction between the carpet and our foot, our shoes, the electrons, they jump from the carpet to our body. So our body becomes negatively charged. And when we touch the door handle is made out of metal. So when we touch the door handle, the electrons from our body, they jump onto the metal handle. So when that transfer happens, when the electrons jump from our body to the metal door handle, that is when we get the electric shock. So if that question comes in exam, you have to talk about the rubbing of two insulators like our shoes and the carpet, and the electrons, they move from the carpet to our body, and our body will become negatively charged. And when you touch the door handle, electrons jump from our body to the door handle, and that is when we get the electric shock. So in terms of sparking or electric shock, what we need to know that as the charge builds up on a charged object, the potential difference is just another name for the voltage. So potential difference between the charged object and the ground increases. So there will be a difference in the voltage or the potential difference between the ground and the body or any other charged object. Now, if the charged object becomes near to another object, then sparking can happen. And what is a spark? That's an important one to remember. A spark is just a jump. When the electrons, they jump from the charged object to the earth or through an earth object like a metal door handle or anything like that. So spark is when the charge moves from one object to another. During lightning, same thing happens. So during lightning, the electrons or the charge moves from one cloud to another cloud, and when that happens, the spark is generated. That is what we can see as a lightning, and the shape of the lightning shows the boundary between the two clouds. So that is what happens during lightning. It's the same question what we just discussed. So based upon the knowledge of friction, what happens when you rub the insulators together? Insulators, charges, sparking. So you can use these keywords to write an answer. The question is, explain why a student walking on a carpet or carpeted staircase gets a shock when they reach out or when they touch the metal handle rail. And why?
That's 21st.
Thanks for watching. If you find the information useful, please subscribe, share, and like the video.